What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Locks DFS NHL Breakdown. I'm your host, Narang, and I'll be breaking down the 7-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel for Monday, March 11th. Before I get into that, though, if you guys could go ahead and leave a like and comment on this video, it means a lot to me, and you will be entered into winning our free Season Pass giveaway. We announce the winner of those giveaways on every Monday video, Taylor's video. So if you haven't already checked out Taylor's NBA video, go check that out to see if you were last week's winner. But as you guys know, the same weekly giveaway, we just like to give back to our most active viewers, subscribers, watchers, those that leave likes and positive comments. We just try to hook them up and say thank you. So we will run that giveaway again this week as we do every week. So make sure to like and comment so you can get entered into that. But with that being said, let's jump into this 7-game slate. I've got quite a few plays written down. I'm not going to talk about all of them for too much because there are so many good plays on this slate. But I'll talk about a few spots that I like, and we'll just get right into it. So as we usually do, we like to start at the high price center range. And for me, that's Connor McDavid all day on this slate. It's not that close for me. I mean, he's going up against one of our favorite matchups. He's got a Rangers team that's 4th in the league, last 10 games, high danger chances against per 60. And then if we filter it by their penalty kill, which I'm sure you guys already know, they are the 6th worst penalty kill in the league. So this is a great spot for McDavid, who we know is this entire Edmonton offense, and he got paired back up on this first line with Leon Draisaitl. This is when he's at his most dominant. His numbers take a little bit of a dip when he's skating with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, as he was the past couple games. So it's nice seeing Draisaitl back up on his first line with him. Draisaitl a bit expensive here, but I think he makes for a decent GPP pivot if you double stack Edmonton centers. I don't think many people would do that. And so I think that's an interesting play. But McDavid, the high-priced guy we're going with here in this matchup. Scrolling down a bit, though, I'm going to go ahead and gloss over this sort of 6K range. There's a lot of viable plays here, but as we talked about, this is a big slate with a lot of good plays on it. So I'm going to jump right into the value, though. I have quite a few value plays listed to help you guys out. One being Nolan Patrick. Main thing with him is we're taking advantage of these Philadelphia lines. They switched them up last game, I believe. And this second line is actually really interesting for Philadelphia. Nolan Patrick, James Van Riemsdyk, and Travis Konechny. I think that's a real talented, high upside line. They're stepping into a great matchup versus an Ottawa team that is, as we can see here, 3rd worst over the last 10 games, high danger chances against per 60, and the worst team over the last 10 games, expected goals against per 60 wise. Nothing that really changes over the course of the season. I mean, they've been awful, and now they don't have any of their good players like Stone, Duchesne, and Dzingel. They're all traded, so makes sense why Philly would have the highest team total on the slate at 4.1. They're just in a total smash spot. Both those top two lines are in elite spots, and I think getting Nolan Patrick at 3.9K is a steal, and it's great exposure to that offense. Scrolling down a little bit farther, scrolling up a little bit farther. 4.1K Christian Dvorak. He's a guy I put on the lock sheet last game where he was, I believe, 3.4 on DraftKings and 3.1 on FanDuel, and he ended up scoring 2 goals. The reason I put him on is because he got a little line change in Arizona as well. Christian Dvorak bumped up to the second line, skating with Clayton Keller and Richard Panik. So back when Derek Stepan got injured over a week ago, I remember thinking that I couldn't tell which Arizona center that would benefit the most, whether that be Brad Richardson, Nick Cousins, or Christian Dvorak. But I hoped that it would benefit Christian Dvorak the most because they did call him up at some point last year, just a young, really talented kid that they've had in their AHL system, in their minor system, whatever that's called in the NHL. Real talented kid. They called him up last year and he did okay for a short stint of games. So it's nice to see him back up here, and I love the line that he's skating on with Richard Panik and Clayton Keller. It's definitely the most exciting offensive line that Arizona has. They're going up against a Chicago team that, as we know, has been the worst team in the league. High danger chances against per 60 wise nearly all year. In the last 10 games, which is what this is filtered by, is no different. So a good spot for him, and he's getting a lot of power play time as well. So not a guy who's going to shoot the puck too much. Got an iCourse for a little bit above 12, but he'll definitely put the puck on net. And I think this Arizona 2-line combines for at least a goal, and Dvorak will definitely be a part of that. So Moving on to winger, I'm actually just going to skip over this high price range of wingers, not because there aren't good plays here, just because you guys know a lot about these guys, and also because there's just so many elite mid-price plays on this slate that I have to talk about. Him. And the first guy is Artemi Panarin. Over the last 10 games, well, it's really like the last 13. The Islanders have been bad defensively, and people haven't caught on yet, and we've been taking a lot of advantage of that. Like James Van Riemsdyk last slate, I got him at like 1% owned, bumped on the second line versus the Islanders and the first unit power play. Love that spot. The Islanders last 10 games, 14.25 high danger chances against per 60. That's sandwiched between awful defensive teams like the Blackhawks and Ottawa Senators. So not a great defensive team recently, and this could be regression for what was a really bad defensive team last year. So we could just be seeing them regress pretty hard. The total on this game, I should note, is dropping. Columbus has been a great defensive team, but the Islanders have generated a lot of offensive chances. I'm inclined to bet the over in this game just because I don't really see any reason for it to be dropping. I think Columbus scores some goals. I think the Islanders score some goals. And Artemi Panarin at 5.8K, still skating on that first line, still getting first unit power play run, and skating like 22 minutes a night is a lock on DraftKings. It's just way too cheap for a guy of his talent. So I won't talk too much about him because that one seems fairly obvious for those of you who have played NHL DFS all season. This guy's around 7K most of the time, so 5.8 is just too cheap. The second guy, James Van Riemsdyk, for all the same reasons that I like Nolan Patrick, I also like James Van Riemsdyk. Over the last 10 games, over the last 2 weeks, he's got an iCorsi per 60. That's third on the Philadelphia Flyers, ranking around 16. He's shooting the puck a lot, and I love this role on the first unit power play for him as well. Incredibly dangerous power play going up against a really bad penalty kill. Ottawa ranking 8th worst in the league. So take advantage, get a lot of Flyers into your lineup. I love James Van Riemsdyk on this site. Scrolling down a little farther, one of my favorite DFS plays ever is Nino Niederreiter. This year, since he's been traded to Carolina, the guy is just shooting the puck like crazy and skating 20 minutes a night. So we played Nino in this matchup, home versus Winnipeg, a team that wasn't being great defensively when we played them, and it didn't work out for us. Oops, let me back out of here. And it didn't work out for us. Then he went and exploded in a tough matchup versus Nashville. Now he's got a pretty good matchup versus a Colorado team that has not been good defensively over his past 10 games, ranking 8th in high danger chances against per 60. And we're seeing Carolina with a little bit of reverse line movement coming in on them. Line movement. 64% of the bets, yet they move from -103 to -109. I think that's another game that could shoot out, and Nino is just way, way, way too cheap. To give you guys a little bit of context, I think Nino's 6.4K on FanDuel, which is a much more reasonable price than 4.9K as he is on DraftKings. And then the last guy I want to talk about is just a new line in Colorado. So with Gabriel Landeskog, as I'm sure a lot of you heard, missing 4 to 6 weeks with that thumb injury, we have a first-line Derek Brassard and first-line JT Compher, which is stuff that we anticipated when they traded Derek Brassard to them. It was just a matter of time before someone got hurt and he got thrown up on their first line, and we were forced to play him. So he's also getting that first-unit power play run, super valuable spot, and sitting at 3.1K on DraftKings and 3.9K on FanDuel, he makes for arguably the best value play on the slate on both sites, just getting that McKinnon exposure at 5v5 and 5v4. With that being said, let's move on to defense real quick so we can wrap this up. Starting at the top, as you guys know, one of those trends that we've been following for the past couple years has been defensemen versus Minnesota. They just give up an increased amount of shots from the blue line, a lot of low danger point shots, but with a guy like Brent Burns shooting them, those all become high danger shots. So we could see Brent Burns, a guy who's got an iCorsi 4 per 60 over 22, we could see him fire 20 pucks in the direction of the net, and it wouldn't surprise anyone if 10 of them, 12 of them got on net. So we could see Brent Burns put up a monster score here, and just the increased shot floor gives you a real solid floor with him, and then obviously the upside with Brent Burns, as you all know, is very real. So love him. I think with all the value, it's going to be easy to pay up for him, and you should just do that. And then scrolling down a little bit, speaking of value, 4K Zach Werenski makes absolutely no sense to me on DraftKings. I mean, he's still getting first unit power play run. Nothing has changed in that regards for Columbus. Just a very dangerous power play as well with our Panarin, Duchesne, Atkinson, and Foligno. just a great spot for him. And as we talked about, the Islanders have not been good defensively. Their power play has been good. Their penalty kill this season, where do they rank? 12th in the league. But over the last 10 games, I was looking at it, is not as good. As always, their defense has suffered not only at 5v5, but at 5v4, which makes me think it's more regression for them. So take advantage of these Columbus prices being so low. Zach Werenski at 4K is just like Panarin at 5.8K. It just shouldn't be like that. So definitely take advantage of those. Moving on to defense, not in the business, obviously, of predicting goalies. It's just too difficult. I will say Brian Elliott at 7.3K is fairly cheap for the biggest favorite on the slate at minus 260 versus Ottawa. It's worth noting that Ottawa does generate its fair share of high danger offensive chances at ranking 6th over the last 10 games. So not a bad so they might score a couple goals, but he should see a fair amount of pucks on net. Another guy, Devin Dubnyk at 7K versus San Jose. Not a bad play. He could see a ton of shots, and we're seeing Minnesota get some reverse line movement here. So if you think Minnesota can pull this game out, then I think Dubnyk is an interesting play at 7K as well. But play whoever you want. Just correlate it with your skaters so that if your skaters do well, your goalie gets the win. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please do leave a like and comment to be entered into that giveaway. And with all that being said, I hope you guys win a ton of money tonight. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at ReallyAddy if you have any more NHL, NBA, any sort of questions. Feel free to hit me up. But yeah, I hope you guys win a ton of money tonight, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.